Good morning, everyone. There is nothing better than gingerbread smell going through your kitchen at the holidays. So I'm going to show you today how to make these cute little gingerbread men. So let's go. So here we go. I guess the crux of this tutorial is we are going to start combining shapes in order to make our bead design. And on this particular guy, I am going to start out by making his head a lentil and making his body into a smashed barrel. So I have my little donut of glass here, and I'm going to use the middle lentil on my lentil press. So I've got my little blob here all heated up. Let's go ahead and put it down in the press and say, do I have too much glass? Do I have not enough glass? I have just right glass. And I am using Creation is Messy Toto for his body. I've also used the Creation is Messy Mahogany, and that came out nice. And I've also used the Afret dark brown, but the dark brown was a little too dark for a video. So I've got a little round head here. That came out pretty dang good, I think. I'm just kind of squaring up the ends, and there's always a little bit that smooshes out, but we're just gonna torch out all those tool marks, get everything kind of even. And now let's go for his little body. So I need more fire because this is going slow. There we go. All right. Right there at that flat spot where his head is, I'm going to put my first wrap. And it kind of acts as his little neck. And I'm trying really, really hard to get a good connection there on the flat part of that lentil with my first wrap of glass on my barrel. And it looks like we did pretty good. Now, of course, you can always go back in and sculpt once we melt everything down. I am also going to use a stringer as a little scarf. So he'll have a scarf that is attaching his head to his body, as well as all this glass. And usually here, my barrel, it's about 4 or 5 wraps across. Oh, and there goes my glass. Dang it, dang it, dang it, but that is okay. We're just gonna go ahead and use as much as we can, and then chunk in the frit bowl. Go back to my glass here, get it warmed up, keep my bead warm. I know, look at that mess right now. It looks terrible. And there is my good old Creation is Messy shocky glass. I'll pull out a little bit here so you can see. All right, I tell you what, let me get this glass on and then I will be back and we'll keep going. Okay, there we go. As you can see, I've got my lentil head and the barrel body, and I got my glass down, and I did go ahead and marver that barrel a bit just to get kind of all the wrinkles out and get it even. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my monster mashers, and we're just going to lightly mash that barrel part, not the lentil part, but just the barrel part. So right there, give it just a little gentle mush. And oh my God, I mushed it the wrong direction. I mushed his head should be flat. Instead, he looks like he's turning his head. Let me try that again. Get it right, Maria. There we go. There's his little body. Of course, when you screw up like that, you got to do it multiple times. So let's do it again. Right there. Give it a little gentle mush. Okay, there's his body. And I'm going to square up the edges a bit here, just with my little press. Oh, poor little guy. There we go. So now we've got a rectangle on top of a lentil. And he's got his little neck that we can melt down. Cool. Okay, arms and legs. I'm going to turn down my torch now because I don't need that much heat. For arms and legs, I want us to revisit the theory of fusing glass together instead of just placing it on there. And the reason is that the arms and legs kind of stick out a bit. I want to make sure that they're not going to pop off. So I'm going to go ahead right there on his little shoulder joint. I'm going to heat up that base speed. And then I'm going to heat up my gather, and I'm going to put it down, and I'm just going to let it sit there for a little bit. And then I'm going to pull it up, and it'll get spiky, but that's okay. Get some glass down. And then we start the melt and the gravity and the patience and the heat control. And you can see how that little blob is now fully fused, and you can't see the seam in between the two junctions there of his arm to his shoulder. And so that's how I know that my little glass blob is going to really stick, is that if I can't see the seam from where I put down the glass, then I know it's on there really well. So I'm push it on there, pull it up a bit, flame cut it off, and then really start to melt in where that seam is. And if you want his arms to be a little longer, just point your bead downward and the glass will stretch out long. Now let's do his legs. So right there in the corner, I'm going to heat it up, push down my toe glass, let it sit a bit, pull it up to a little point, and then let's go ahead and melt it, fuse it all together. And yes, they're stubby, but that's okay, you know. Maybe the dog got to the kitchen counter and ate your gingerbread cookies. One more leg, right here on this corner. Press it down, pull it up, and just kind of flame sculpt, flame fuse everything together. Gravity, patience, direction, and keep his head warm. And there we go. There's our little body for our little man. And you can like kind of straighten him out a bit. Maybe he's doing the splits. All right. Time to decorate. Yay. I think I'm going to put his head on this side. So I always start from the top down. I don't know why. It's easier. Here, one googly eye there. And one googly eye there. And I'm going to give him a little nose. A little red nose, because it's cute. I think when you decorate gingerbread cookies, you want to put as much frosting on as you can. So a little red nose in the center. And let's go ahead and flatten everything out. Flatten out those googly eyes. Flatten out his little nose so it doesn't pop off. There we go. Okay. Now let's give him a little mouth. I have a little black mouth here. I'm going to heat up my black. Put it down and just give him a little smile. And don't forget his pupils since I'm holding on to the black. Might as well give him some pupils. And I'm going to switch over to my dental tool now. Press down those little pupils. Press down his little smile. And then I always give my gingerbread man some little cheeks. Some nice little cheeks. So I've got my Effetre dark pink. And I'm just going to heat up a little gather. And then right there on each side of his mouth. Just a little dot for his cheeks. And go ahead and sculpt those down. There we go. Little smiling gingerbread man. Okay, since the scarf was such a big hit on my snowman last week, let's go ahead and give this guy a little red scarf. And it's the same thing. I'm just going to make a little X and then around his neck and then over the top and back down. There you go. Back to the dental tool, pressing flat. Pressing flat so it doesn't go pew. And let's get around his neck here. All right. And now some frosting buttons, little green buttons, because red and green and white, Christmas time. Right, guys? So a button there and a button there. He's got a scarf, he's got buttons, he is all set to go. And then what I do, just as a little finishing touch, is I put a daub of white frosting on his arms and legs, kind of like little frosting hands and feet. A little dot, and I do melt it in pretty good. There we go. I don't think there was enough room to do like rickrack or anything. But you know, it's Gingerbread Man. Decorate him however you like. And there he is, you guys. That is your holiday Gingerbread Man. Enjoy.